Migrants is the story of two polar bears who are forced to leave their land because it is collapsing due to the global warming. After a journey through the ocean, they will discover a new, promising and welcoming land, and they will try to cohabitate with bears already living there. So this story is about migrations, a reduction of differences, and global warming. When we built up our team and start to think about the subject for our graduation film, it was clear that we wanted to talk about a social and contemporary subject.
For the development of the scenario, we discussed all together about how we were going to tell the story, what interaction the characters could have together, and how to make the connection between characters and human beings. As we had a lack of traditional skilled artists in our team, pre-production was a bit scary at first. So we did a collaborative storyboard based on the scenario we developed. Everyone was free to come up with new ideas for shots, sequences and framing. It was really fun to work like this. It was clear enough for us to go for a 3D layout.
I was animator, layout artist and editor on the movie. I started my work by compiling the storyboard in 2D animatic to get some idea of sequences and rhythm. Once it was clear in 2D, I started to create the 3D layout and really work on the animation and camera intentions. I also did research on what style of animation would fit best our universe. We finally went in a semi-realistic way. That way, we had the stop motion effect, but with more freedom in the motions.
We were quickly interested in stop motion aspects because we liked the aesthetic of it, and we also liked the challenge of building a world that could have been handmade and to make the whole thing believable. So we did some concepts for the characters and for the environments. We used different techniques. We watched a lot of references from stop motion projects to try to spot what was the codes of the stop motion. I worked closely with Zoé, focusing on the look development of the environments. So what we did is work with a diorama for the forest. So while creating our assets, we bring all the assets together in this diorama to make sure that they look like they are from the same world.
I was in charge of modeling our different assets like tree, flowers, without forgetting that it was necessary to keep a model aspect. We were looking for original design for our natural assets. It was very interesting since I was able to learn a new software on my own, SpeedTree, which was very helpful to test different things quickly and create our trees. With Hugo, we tried to find out what could make our model look cuter, more like stop motion.
For the characters, we knew in what material we wanted them. And after some 2D concept to clarify the result, I started to create the base texture, the wool for the polar bears, and the fabric for the brown bears. The longest work was to bring these characters to life by adding details, dirt, damages area, details that given them experience, and original specific features that distinguish them from one another.
To keep with the stop-motion model aspect of the characters, we had to maintain the alliance of stiffness and softness of the plushies. For the stiffness, we limited our rig to the essentials. For the facial, for example, we use only joint-based facial rig to help with the stiffness. For the softness and the folds, we decided to simulate our polar bears on Houdini, by first creating a layer of vellum soft body, and then a pass of clothes on the surface of the bears to have little folds like real plushies.
We wanted to have a lot of density in our environment. We had to optimize our scene a lot so we could render the shot without any problem. It was a lot of research, but we found a solution principally with Houdini. I did a tool with the software that allows us to use very simple sets with a few main assets. Then the tool smartly did scatter different objects we built to bring density in our forest. About the visual effect, the challenge was to match them with the artistic direction of the film. We did several tests for the water movement with cloth and water simulation, but they were not concluent, and the simplest was the best. We used the Oceans tool in Houdini to get the main wave, and we applied some noise to get the plastic movement. The simulation was only used for adding details, like cross simulation for the plastic pieces above the water, and particle simulation for the rain and the splashes. With this, we've succeeded in finding a great looking stylized effect.
Once the look was well defined, we had to set up the render process. Thinking about the upcoming compositing, we render characters and environment separately, and took care to render the different set of lights separately as well. Compositing was very important to bring the feeling of stop motion. We use a strong depth of field to achieve a tilt shift effect on several shots. In terms of color, we want something very colorful at the beginning to make the environment feel welcoming. And as the movie went along, we shift those colors to something more cold to transmit the threat our characters are feeling.
During production, we were thinking a lot about technical aspects and sometimes in the rush. So at the time we almost forget about the story itself. But it's when we had the first feedbacks from the community that we realized the movie was working and that it was a success from an emotional perspective.
People were very attached to our characters, and that was so pleasant to know. We did not expect to have such success in the animation festivals. This movie now has more than 90 awards. I think the topic we talked about are universal, and this may be the main reason of its success.
We are not thinking about this when doing film, but having this feedback of the community and be able to be a part of some of the most important animation festivals is so amazing for us, especially for a project we did together as friends. We had a lot of fun working on Migrants. It was very enriching and learning experience. I think everybody hopes to be able to work together again in the future.